Good evening. We're back with more Marvel Champions, and this evening will be a hero spotlight for Spider-Man. We will start out playing Spider-Man versus Sandman on expert difficulty, using this leadership deck featuring Captain Marvel, Stinger, Strength in Numbers, Clarity of Purpose, which I think works pretty well because Aunt May provides a lot of healing. And we also have Regroup. So this is a cycle deck, and we'll see how it goes against Sandman. How good is Spider-Man? He's a little bit better than Venom, I would say. And he'd be like in the A tier, but not quite S tier. Assess the Situation is a card that I've been liking more lately. I think I'll get rid of the Webbed Ups, though Webbed Up would be quite good against Sandman, even though thematically it doesn't really make sense. Let's use Peter Parker's resource to get out Web Shooter. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Webbed Up on Sandman. We'll exhaust Spider-Man. Well, we gotta resolve Surging Sands to start the game. And then we'll remove 2 sand counters using Spider-Man. Play Assess the Situation to get +1 hand size. It's just a cycle card. That's all it does. And then we'll draw +1. And so we got 1 threat, and we got no attack. Instead, Sandman gets stunned. And then 1 encounter card since we're on expert difficulty. Threat or menace. You may change form. If you're in hero form, place 2 threat on the main scheme. If you're in alter ego form, you cannot change form. 2 threat. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Nick Fury and draw 3. That's interesting. Thwart for 2, thwart for 1, and let's flip and go 1, 2, 3 for Moon Girl and draw 3. You can use Peter Parker's resource for another Web Shooter. Go 1, 2, 3 for White Tiger and draw 2. And we'll use Swinging Web Kick for Clarity of Purpose. Thwart for 2, and we'll use Moon Girl to remove 2 sands counters and draw 4. Actually 5 now. Seems like a pretty strong turn. So 1 threat, 1 scheme for 3. 1 encounter card, which will be now or never. 1 acceleration token or exhaust a character and spend 1 resource. We'll spend a resource, Clarity of Purpose, and we'll exhaust Nick Fury. And at the end of the round, he leaves. So with Peter Parker's resource and a Clarity of Purpose, we'll play Black Cat. And we'll flip. Play Assess the Situation. And get rid of the last counter there. Go 1, 2, and then go ahead and draw 3. So we have a lot of extra resources here and nothing to play it on. +1 for Assess the Situation. So 1 threat, remove stun, and 1 encounter card, which will be Sand Smash. Sandman attacks you with +1 attack. So we get a draw with Spider Sense. Reveal this card, and then we'll backflip the damage. Okay, when you would deal any amount of damage to Sandman, discard Sand Form, resolve Surging Sands. Okay. Well, Let's go Spider Tracker for Stinger. Thwart. Let's go Clarity for 1, Web Shooter for 1. Get out Kalu. Look through the top 5. Swinging Web Kick is great. And we'll go 1, 2, 3 for Swinging Web Kick. Well, first we need to deal with this sand form, so Surging Sands and Swinging Web Kick for 8. 2 from Spider-Man. Thwart, and attack. Oh, I forgot to do Black Cat's forced response. Since it is forced, I'll just go ahead and do it right now. Okay. And then we'll draw 3. Okay, so 1 threat, Sandman will attack, which draws a card, and will backflip, and 1 encounter card, which will be Panic in the Streets. Each location and each persona is blank. I don't have any of those at the moment. Let's go with Ironheart. Not yet. First we'll deal some damage. We're into phase 3, 1 sand counter and then Surging Sands. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3 for Swinging Web Kick. 1, 2 for Ironheart. Draw a card, and then 1 for Regroup. And we'll deal 1 damage, we'll exhaust for 1 sand counter, and we'll draw 5. So that's an extra encounter card. So we got 2 threat, and we got a Sandman attack, which draws a card, and I'm not going to tank this, so it's going to be indirect damage for 3. We'll go 1, 2, 3 because each of these is defeated by an enemy attack, so they all get returned to the hand. And then we have 2 encounter cards. So 1 Common Criminal, 1 Dirt Trap, 2 Sand Clone, Common Criminal, Sand Clone. Well, that's rough. Anyway, I can deal 10 damage. I'd have to find a Swinging Web Kick, and it's possible. Regroup is gone. What do I want to do first? Let's do Clarity, Maria Hill, and draw a card. There's the Swinging Web Kick. So Swinging Web Kick for 8. 9, 10. And that'll do it for Sandman. So this cycle Spider-Man deck makes pretty quick work of Sandman on expert difficulty. And next up is going to be Sabretooth. Here we go. Spider-Man versus Sabretooth on expert difficulty. Okay. This hand seems okay. Generator Science Resource. Go 2, 3. 4 for Nick Fury and draw 3. Go 1, 2, 3 for Moon Girl. So let's keep Maria Hill. Draw 3. Go Web Depth for Web Shooter. Energy for Maria Hill. Draw 1. And we'll get out Aunt May. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip, take control of the Senator. So we move on to phase 2. Deal each player an encounter card. And then we'll go ahead and remove the toughness. So I probably should have used the web shooter and keep enhanced spider sense. Other than that, everything seems good. And we'll draw 4. So 1 threat, 1 attack from Sabretooth. We'll draw a card. If this attack defeats an ally, it will. So 2 threat. Healing card for 2. He's already full health. And 2 encounter cards. Under fire. Brotherhood. Exhaustion. Shapeshifter Surprise. That's a tough card, and it shuffled right to the top. Gang up, the villain attacks, so that's going to draw a card. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for Mystique. That is a tough sequence. And this attack will go on Maria Hill. And each minion engaged with you. I think it's each minion engaged at the time of the reveal, though. Still got 1 more encounter card, but she has Quick Strike for 2. And then Avalanche. Yikes. That's going to be tough. Oh wait, I had enhanced spider sense. For the shapeshifter surprise, I could have canceled that. Oh, I played this so bad. Well, this loss is definitely not going to hold it against Spider-Man. This is my fault. Do I lose? So I shouldn't take 2 undefended damage. That'll go on Robert Kelly. We'll get out Clarity of Purpose. Play Regroup. Assess the situation. Discard Shapeshifter Surprise. Drop to 6. Attack. We'll just backflip it. Healing card. And then we have attacks for 2 and 3. have to exhaust a character. And then 2 encounter cards. He should have had a quick strike for 3 as well. Adamantium Claws and Sabretooth Strikes. Okay. Well. Played regroup poorly there too. Let's get reset and we'll try this again. I did not play this well at all. So I'm not going to hold this against Spider-Man. Here we go. See what I can do. That hand looks just fine. Not as strong a start as last time. Last time was a pretty strong start. We'll go Maria Hill and draw a card. Flip. Go 1, 2, 3, 4 for webbed up. And we'll thwart for 2 and thwart for 1 and then draw 5. So 1 threat and then 2 damage for Robert Kelly. And then no attack, 1 encounter card. That's going to remove his stun. Well, I'm going to flip to Alter Ego. We're going to go Science Resource, Science Resource, regroup for Moon Girl, and draw 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Captain Marvel. Can't play regroup with the web shooter because it's a hero resource and we're in alter ego mode. Captain Marvel discards the top 4. 1 lightning icon means 3 damage, which is going to remove the toughness. Thwart for 2. Advance to phase 2. Bring Robert Kelly over. And we'll deal 2 damage. And then draw 5. I could play regroup. No, I already spent the science resource. So no regroup, but there won't be any attacks anyway. So 1 threat, 1 scheme for 1, 2. And he gets his animal ferocity. And then 2 encounter cards. Well, first we need a healing card for 2, and then 2 encounter cards, which will be Homo Superior. There are no minions, so that's a surge. Mutant Terrorists. When revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Brotherhood side scheme. No, I think I'm gonna enhanced Spider Sense that. And then Master Plan. Metamorphic Mayhem. Shuffle each shapeshifter card from the discard pile into the deck. Let's see which ones are there. Shapeshifter cards. None, so I want to defeat that right away. So let's go Science Resource and now first we'll go Maria Hill and thwart for 2. We can go Science Resource 2, 3, 4 for Nick Fury and we'll draw 3. Interesting. So we can flip. We'll use Web Shooter to play Clarity of Purpose. Get rid of Metamorphic Mayhem. Thwart for 2. Deal 2 damage. Assess the situation. We'll use Strength in Numbers. White Tiger. Okay. And we'll just draw 5. +1 for assess the situation. 1 threat. 1 attack on Nick Fury. One encounter card. So we should draw a card with Spider Sense when Sabretooth activates. And we need a heal for 1. And then 1 encounter card, which will be Under Fire. Unfortunate. Infiltration. And I don't have a cancel. So that's going into my deck. And then Sabretooth strikes 1 damage. Okay. Well, Clarity of Purpose, Web Shooter, that's 2. Clarity of Purpose for White Tiger, and draw 2. We can go Thwart for 2. Strengthen Numbers with those 2. No, I don't want to do that. Strengthen Numbers with Moon Girl and draw. No, I don't want to do that since that counter card's on top of my deck. We'll just go 1, 2 for Rapid Response. We'll go defeat Captain Marvel and use Rapid Response to bring Captain Marvel back into play. Discard the top 4. So that card does not enter my hand. And I get 3 damage. Value Captain Marvel. We'll go Aunt May. Get some damage in, and then we'll draw 3. It's going to be a second encounter card. So 1 threat, 1 attack, draw a card for that. Just backflip this. 1 heal for 2. 2 encounter cards. Feral Rage. Infiltration. I'm going to enhance Spider Sense that. Off it goes. So we can go 1, 2, 3 for Swinging Web Kick. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Swinging Web Kick, Sabretooth into phase 3. And then we'll use Spider-Man to take out the toughness. Take the retaliate damage and we'll draw 5. So 1 threat, 1 attack, which draws a card. Attack will go on Captain Marvel. Well, actually I have Rapid Response. It should go on Spider-Man. I'll just take the damage. And then a healing card. And then an encounter card, which is Unrelenting Savage. Sabretooth attacks. He gets +1. Draw a card. This time it's going to have to go on Captain Marvel. Or else Kelly might die. So, what do we want to do here? Web shooter. Four for Nick Fury and draw 3. 2 for Maria Hill and draw 1. Let's go webbed up for regroup. Play assess the situation. And we'll deal 2 damage, support for 2, draw 5. So 1 threat, 1 attack, draw a card. That comes back to hand thanks to regroup, and then 1 heal for 2, 1 encounter card. So Nick Fury should have taken an extra damage, but that wouldn't matter from the retaliate. Medical emergency. Okay. Regroup goes away. Strengthen numbers to cycle. Rapid response. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Nick Fury, and I'm going to start dealing damage. 4 damage. Gonna I already played rapid response. Gonna put out a web shooter. And then draw 4. And then we got 2 threat. We got an attack from Sabretooth. It's going to be an acceleration token. Draw a card. Attack will go on Nick Fury. We're going to rapid response him back in. And after he enters play, we're going to deal 4 damage. And Sabretooth gets a heal after his attack for 3. And an encounter card, which will be the Villain Schemes. No, I don't think he will. Can I deal 9 damage here? Not unless I get a swinging web kick from Ironheart. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. 6, 7. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 for Beast and grab that Genius again. So Nick Fury left at the end of the round, so I actually still only have 5. Two, 3, 4. So Ironheart and draw a card. There's the swinging web kick. But I don't have the resources to play it now. So Beast should take an extra damage. So should Spider-Man because of the retaliate. So we'll just thwart, and flip to alter ego and heal. Play assess the situation for an extra card. Extra encounter card as long as I survive. 2, 3. 1, 2, and then a heal for 2. And 2 encounter cards. It'll be Adamantium Claws and Avalanche, and that's not going to prevent his demise. So just go 1, 2, 3 and swinging web kick. I think I made some small errors. I may have forgotten retaliate once or twice, but certainly it was a better game than the first game against Sabretooth, where I played very poorly. This one I think we played well enough to evaluate Spider-Man. He's strong. And I like this leadership deck that I'm playing. This cycle deck, because the more I play this game, the more I realize that kind of the main point of aspect cards, the best case scenario that you want from them typically, is that they replace themselves, because the game is designed so that hero specific cards are nearly always stronger than the aspect cards. And I think the developers intended for the aspect cards to fill in gaps in the hero's kit. So they made some heroes that are good at thwarting, and some heroes that are good at attacking, and some heroes that are good at defending. And so they thought, okay, we'll make 4 aspects. We'll make a leadership aspect, which is focused on allies, aggression that's focused on attack, justice that's thwart, and protection that's defense. And they thought, so we'll make it so that whatever hero you play, if your hero's good at one thing, you use the aspect to fill in their weaknesses. That's an interesting idea, except that the hero-specific cards are always better than the aspect cards, or nearly always. And they did that on purpose because they didn't want they wanted the aspect cards to be like situational fill-in-the-gaps cards, not like the main show. They wanted playing Spider-Man to be about playing the Spider-Man cards and not about playing the aspect cards. If they'd made the aspect cards just as strong as the actual hero cards, it wouldn't really feel like playing the hero if you feel like playing the aspect. So the hero cards are nearly always stronger than aspect cards in every case. But then here's the thing, some of the aspect cards simply replace themselves. They're called, in card game terms, cantrips. One example would be Maria Hill. Draws a card. So you played 1 card and you drew a card. Nick Fury draws 3 cards. White Tiger draws 2 or 3 cards. And so you can play aspect cards that fill in the gaps, or you could just play a bunch of aspect or basic cards that replace themselves, and then you get to play your hero cards more. And that turns out to be the strongest strategy if you're going for power. The strongest strategy is just to cycle through your deck to get to more plays of your hero cards rather than using the aspect cards the way they were designed to fill in gaps in your kit. And that is because the aspect cards are always weaker than your hero cards. So you want to play your hero cards as much as you can, and you don't want to play your aspect cards much. So just playing cycle cards turns out to be the strongest strategy in most cases, which means that when you're playing solo, leadership is nearly always the strongest aspect to go with. And that lack of variety is kind of disheartening. I kind of hoped that as the game developed, that all 4 aspects would be very strong and interesting. But this is a really difficult game. And if you want to win, it's not really built around solo play. The game isn't. And so if you want to win, you have to look for extra power somewhere. And cycling will give you that extra power by allowing you to play your hero cards more often. Ultimately, that means that leadership is almost always the thing to play when you're playing solo, if you're playing on high difficulty. And that's a little unfortunate, a little monotonous. But when you're trying to play as high a difficulty as you can, that's the way to go. Let's take a look at a quest or scenario that Spider-Man struggled with. That would be Green Goblin Mutagen Formula on Heroic 1. A barrier that only Star-Lord has gotten past so far in our Hero Spotlight. And we'll see how Spider-Man does. You don't really need strength in numbers up front or rapid response. Okay, so we'll use the Peter Parker resource to play Web Shooter. We'll flip, we'll go Genius for Ironheart and draw a card. Go 1, 2, 3 and take out the Goblin Thrall. 1, 2, 3, 4 and play Webbed Up. So we got 2 encounter cards when Green Goblin is revealed, and then we'll draw 5. So we got 1 threat, we got no attack, just a stun. And we got 2 encounter cards, 4 total. Exhaust Your Identity and Surge. Goblin Glider. Goblin Soldier. Monster. Pumpkin Bombs. This attempt already does not look good. Get a stun when the monster is revealed. So let's use Web Shooter and get out Clarity of Purpose. Let's go 1. Two, 3 for White Tiger, and we'll draw 2 cards. 2 for Maria Hill. Draw a card. Play Assess the Situation. Thwart for 2. 2 damage. Discard, and then we'll draw 5. Actually 6 thanks to Assess the Situation. So this is a good example of a basic card that I initially overlooked. But I actually think it's very strong. If you think of the game in terms of the basic cards and the aspect cards just getting to you to more plays of your hero cards, typically. Now there's some cases where the aspect cards do work particularly well with a hero. Like for example, Shadowcat really needs protection cards to activate her ability. But that's rare. Generally, it's best to just go with the cycle cards. So anyway, we got 1 threat, we got remove stun, we got an attack for 1 and an attack for 3. Use Spider-Man to defend the 3, and we'll just take the 1 damage, and then we got 2 encounter cards. It's going to be Goblin Glider for monster, and Wicked Ambition, so we're discarding 4. Anytime a minion's discarded, it either gets put into play or you take 3 damage. 1, take 3 damage on Maria Hill. 2, 3, and we'll put the Goblin Thrall into play. Oh wait, actually I should just enhance Spider Sense that, huh? I'll enhance Spider Sense with Clarity of Purpose. Get rid of that. Okay. What do I want to do here? I don't have a very good Moon Girl play. I can do a Captain Marvel play though. Discard 4. No lightning resources, unfortunate. Three damage could have been very helpful there. Actually, I can hang on to one of these cards. Assess the situation. If I use my Web Shooter. I think I did that right. Anyway, we retire, defeat, play Assess the Situation, and we'll draw 6. I may have made a mistake there, I'm not sure. I'm not going to pay too much attention to it because I really don't expect to do well here. 1 threat, 1 attack from Green Goblin. That will draw a card. We'll just let it go through. Goblin Soldier into play. Backflip. 1 damage. 1 damage. 2 damage. 2 encounter cards. Pumpkin Bombs, and Goblin Thrall. Let's get the stun off of there. Clarity for Web Shooter. Four for Nick Fury and draw 3. Okay. Rapid response. Let's use it right away, and let's try our luck again with Captain Marvel. 1, 2, 3, 4. No lightning resources again. That is not very lucky. But we can go 5, take 1 damage. And then I think I'm gonna thwart for 2 and flip to Alter Ego. Even though I don't have Aunt May yet. 1 threat and a scheme for 3. +1 from the Goblin Soldier, and then 2 encounter cards. Goblin Thrall and Death from Above. So he's gonna scheme. It's gonna be a discard of 3. First minion gets played. Yikes. And Nick Fury leaves at the end of the round. Heal for 3. Use a resource 1, 2, 3, 4 for Webbed Up. On the Green Goblin. We'll flip. We'll go 1, 2 for rapid response. Let's save the life actually and use strength in numbers since I won't use that this round. Captain Marvel, take 2. Take 3. Okay, we got 1 this time. That takes out the Goblin Thrall. But no stun. Then we can deal 3 damage and draw 4. Two threat. Stunned. 1 damage, and then 2 encounter cards. Master Plan. I wish I could cancel that. Eviction notice. Okay. Well, let's go science resource for regroup. You can flip, play assess the situation. Discard 2 and draw 4. I think that's the best I can do. +1 for assess the situations. 1, 2. Remove stun. 1 damage. Actually, it's +2 for overrun. And then 2 encounter cards. Wicked Ambitions. Discard 4. No minions. That's good. And then Goblin Knight. That's not good. Yeah, this does not look good at all. Go 1, 2, rapid response. Well, there's energy resources. So 3 damage and a stun. Spider-Man can take that guy out. Swinging web kick for 8. No, I can't do that. I need to thwart. So we gotta go Captain Marvel for 2. Discard 2. No enemies, that's good. Beast. And grab the resource card. Thwart for 2. And we'll draw 3. So we got 2 threat, we got a stun, 1 damage. We'll have to defend, or we can backflip it. 2 encounter cards. It's gonna be an acceleration token. Hysteria and overconfidence. Green Goblin attacks you. Well, that's going to go, we can draw a card. That's going to go on Captain Marvel, I think. It does mean pumpkin bombs will go off, get an additional encounter card, or boost card. Pumpkin bombs for 2 indirect. And draw a card. Yeah. Okay, I will concede. So, what are my thoughts on Spider-Man? Well, I didn't play perfectly this evening, but I don't think perfect play gets it done against Green Goblin. I tried Protection Spider-Man as well. I found it weaker against the very difficult scenarios. And Green Goblin Mutagen Formula is a big barrier to get past. Arguably, it's not the next easiest heroic one. Arguably, it could be something like maybe Taskmaster, maybe Mysterio, maybe Brotherhood of Badoon. They're all a pretty big ramp up in difficulty. You have Rhino, Absorbing Man, and Crossbones on Heroic 1 that are relatively easy. Rhino and Absorbing Man are pretty good entry level ones, and Crossbones is harder, but doable. Wrecking Crew, Risky Business, and Tower Defense are all pretty easy and pretty unique. And then up from there you have like a cluster of ones that are all much harder on Heroic 1. Brotherhood of Badoon, Taskmaster, Mysterio, Ebony Maw, Thanos. Maybe something like Infiltrate the Museum. All of those are very, very difficult on Heroic 1. And so Green Goblin Mutagen Formula is a relatively mild one compared to some of the others, but still pretty difficult and very combat focused, and a lot of heroes won't get past it. So the issues with Spider-Man, well, first of all, he's a lot better than he was on release. On release, he really wasn't very good, and the reason why he wasn't very good on release is because he had no thwarting ability whatsoever. And that's actually the issue with playing Spider-Man as a protection hero as well, is that protection provides very limited thwarting, and so protection Spider-Man gets overwhelmed with any kind of thwarting. He was built in the initial core set release as your protection champion. This is a very team-oriented game. It's not well designed for solo at all. It's not meant to be. The 4 different aspects correspond to 4 different team roles, and the whole deck building philosophy with 15 cards being forcibly included in the deck kind of lends itself to players who maybe don't have access to the game all the time or the cards all the time, or don't even have the cards, but can still play the game when they go over to somebody's house who does have it. The game does that well. Solo play it's not really designed for, especially in the last cycle or two. And so something like Protection Spider-Man or Justice Spider-Man or Aggression Spider-Man that I would really like to be good really just isn't that good because, well, the issue with Justice Spider-Man, it does provide some extra thwart. But it wasn't really thwart that did us in this scenario. It was getting overwhelmed by damage, though thwart was also an issue. And the issue with Justice is just that the thwarting cards are inefficient, typically. You'll have to pay something like 2 for 3 thwart, or 3 resources for 4 thwart, or something like that. And it's very inefficient compared to playing an ally, where if you play an ally like White Tiger, you get 2 thwart for 3 cost, and you get to draw 2 cards, and you get a chump block. Or if you play Maria Hill, you get 2 thwart for 2 cost, and you get to draw a card, and you get a chump block. So using allies tends to be a way more efficient form of thwarting than using Justice. Using the Justice events, I should say. So aggression doesn't provide any kind of defense. So it ends up just always being leadership that we play. And so what are the issues with Spider-Man? Well, on his release, he really struggled with any kind of threat removal. But now there are sufficient allies available who can thwart pretty well that Spider-Man does okay. I would rank him in the A tier. I'd rank him in the high A tier. I think he's the second best hero that we've spotlighted so far after Star-Lord. I think he's ahead of SPDR, Nova, or Venom. Not ahead of Venom by a lot, but he is a little bit better than Venom. That was probably intentional, right? Venom and Spider-Man share some of the same abilities, but probably wanted Spider-Man to be just slightly better than Venom, just for thematic reasons. But Spider-Man's got Backflip, which is an exceptional card. He's got Spider Sense as his hero power, which is very good. His 3 defense is good. The area in which he's lacking, well, Web Tracer is, or Spider Tracer is garbage. Webbed Up is clunky to use because it's a large investment of resources and it doesn't really pay off. 4 cost for 8, or 4 cost for basically 2 blocked attacks is not efficient. But he does make fairly good use of Clarity of Purpose. I like that in this deck with Aunt May for healing, though he does need Aunt May for healing. So overall, he's good. He's good. He's probably the second best hero we spotlighted. But even the second best hero that we spotlighted isn't sufficient to beat very many of the Heroic 1 quests. We really need the top tier heroes to go after those quests. And we'll get to them. I like to assess the situation in this deck out of the Ant-Man hero pack. But next up, we'll do a deck analysis and buying guide for Spider-Man. And thank you for watching.